Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I need to come on here, or I told myself literally a month ago, and then 3 weeks ago, and then 2 weeks ago, that I needed to basically come on here and do an update. And I'm sorry that I don't have my little headphones in, so if it's hard for you guys to hear me, you know, hopefully you guys have like some type of Bluetooth or something where you can kind of hear me, because I'm at Starbucks and their music is very loud. So, but I mean, I can always leave, but I don't feel like it. I actually like the vibe of Starbucks. So yeah, so it has been probably with my YouTube, it's probably about to hit 2 months since I have posted a video, and it is because a lot has happened. A lot. Actually, I can put my AirPods in. That's better. I'm gonna put my AirPods in. That way I know you guys can hear me. Yeah, that way I know you guys can hear me. Okay, so I put my AirPods in, so hopefully that'll help you guys to be able to hear me. So a lot has happened since I posted my last video. You guys know, I think with my last video, I talked about my mom being diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer, and then I told y'all about my dad being diagnosed with dementia, right? So make sure. Okay. So since then, and I had to sit with that for a really good minute, especially with my dad, because we kind of found out that he had been kind of diagnosed with dementia probably like in the first, I think, January of 2024 or something like that. So I really had to sit with that, because I am the type where, and I know I get it from my dad, I don't know what it is. Well, I do know what it is, and it's something that I need to be my own agent of change and fix. But I can get really angry. I can get really angry, and the thing about it is I don't have any remorse. Like I can really kick people out of my life that has been there since day one and move forward like it's nothing. And I can also do that with family. So with that being said, I had to really sit. Now that I'm older and I'm a therapist, I had to really pull out my tools and really sit with certain things, and kind of say like, hey, you can sit in this. You know, you can sit in your anger. You can be angry. You can feel as though there was a little bit of injustice done. And you can think a lot of things, but it doesn't mean that you have to take something from your daughter now. Okay, so when I was sitting with all of my emotions and stuff and kind of my anger, and I literally think of my daughter now. Like, you know, back in the day, I could have cared less, and if I would have found out, then you know, I would have felt no ways, and I would have kept it moving, and I probably would have cursed a lot of people out, and I would have just been a lone traveler for the rest of my life, right? But my daughter has made it to where when I found out the news, even though it was really unsettling to know that it had been so long since we found out, I had to push past it. I pushed past it because of my daughter, because she deserved to have everybody in her life, every family member. She deserves to have everyone in her life. She deserves all of the love from every family member, even if I don't rock with them, right? That will always be her right. So, and since day one, she's been showered by like literally everybody. And I like to think that, you know, with all that I've done with kids in my life back in the day, I would like to say that a lot of what I've done with kids is kind of coming back in her favor. And I'm gonna just keep praying that it continues to do so, because she's just an amazing little girl. Very, very, she can be, she's a Pisces. So she is emotional, which is something I don't have in my toolbox, because my parents were not, my mom was not emotional by any means. And so I think with my older sister Crystal, she's really big now on giving my daughter or her niece emotional support, and that's still I think that will forever be my growth area. And I think that with my daughter, it's going to have to be, I have now found that sweet balance of when I know how to cater to her emotions, and then when I need to tell her, like, hey, you can validate how you feel, but you're still going to do this, because that's how I think that's how my mom has operated with life. And I think that has gotten my mom a lot of success, because being a single mom of 3 kids, you can't really, you have to be able to deal with a lot of different intense emotions and heartbreak, which I know my mom went through a lot, but she still had to go home and cook and take us to school and be a mom, right? And that's kind of how I am. My dad is very emotional. We did not realize my dad was so emotional until my sister and I, until I guess maybe we lost our sister, and then my dad just became very, very emotional. But I think he's always been that way. And Maverick's dad is very hypersensitive, so he's also very emotional. So I think that's probably where she gets it. But anyways, I don't want to get off on a tangent. But so what has been going on is one update on my mom, right? So my mom, she's actually doing very well. And the doctors say that she's doing so well because my mom has never been a smoker. She's never been a drinker. And so she started out with her cancer. I don't know what percentage they're looking at, but before she started chemotherapy, her cancer was at 776 or 762. So that's the percent of, I guess, cancer that was in her body. And then she's done 6 chemotherapy appointments, and the 6th one, she got down all the way to 198%. And then her last one, she got down to 77%. So it's actually, she's moving in a really great direction to where we're hoping that the mass that's on her colon that they still need to cut out, she's hoping that it has shrunk so much to where they don't even need to do the surgery. But I was telling her that even if, let's say, you get down to 0 to 5, which is where a normal percentage will lie, that doesn't have cancer, I feel as though she still needs to make it to where they cut that out, just to be on the cautious side. But the last time she got chemotherapy, or the last time she went, her white blood count was too low, so she couldn't get chemotherapy. And so now she's got to take pills, and she also has to take some type of a shot. So that's that. But she is doing very well. She started out at 109 pounds. Now she's 136 pounds. And so my mom is, my mom's kicking it. She's kicking it. She's doing well. And I thank God that she is. She said that the doctors had actually told her, like, hey, if you don't really start to, or if you hadn't have started to get chemotherapy, my mom would have, or they said that she would have only lived for 6 months or 6 more months. And so I think I would like to say my sister and I had a really good handle on her getting things done, because like my sister and I, we had got to a point where my sister was like, hey, you're suffering, you don't care, you're not doing what you want, or you're not getting the medical treatment that you need done, so I'm done. And then I had texted my mom, because she was asking, like, hey, why aren't you talking to me and whatnot? And I was telling her, well, Mom, I have to get used to you not being here. Like, that's how much that's how big that I can turn my emotions off. I was like, Mom, I have to you're not doing what you need to do in order to get better. And I know fear is consuming you, but knowing is half the battle. You got to get it together. And so I told her, since you're not getting it together, I have to start moving as if you're not here. I have now a daughter. It would be different if I didn't have my own kid, but I do. So I was just like, if you're not going to get what you need to get done, I have to move forward. I have to now get things in order to where I can still be able to function and grieve you not being here. And I think with me and my sister kind of pulling away, she kind of like woke up, because it was just like, hey, you're dying, I mean, so I'm so proud of her. She went, and I know my mom was scared, and we've been supporting her every which way. Now that she has decided to, yes, I need to get it done. Yes, I'm getting chemotherapy. We have been supporting her every step of the way. I actually take off every other Tuesday to go sit with her with my sister at her chemotherapy appointments. And she had just been rocking it, and it's good she is, because it's just like, look, the doctors were saying that if you hadn't kind of gotten it together, you wouldn't even be here in 6 months. And now she gets to experience Maverick growing up. And I think Maverick was also one of the biggest kind of driving factors of her getting it together, was because I think my mom saw that I needed her in just so many ways, not even financially, but just like I need my mom while I'm being a mom, or trying to be, I mean, I needed my mom, and I still need my dad. So with my dad, his birthday was yesterday, and he's doing well. I mean, so that's what's also been happening. So since July 17th, once we found out my dad had kind of dementia, this is around the full month of July, I had started going, or now I'm seeing my dad every other Saturday. So I go and sit with him every other Saturday, just to kind of kick it, check in, see what's going on. But I can tell he has the cognitive processing still, but kind of the application of it, it's like he's not able to speak what he's thinking. So he's in kind of that stage, and he also has started running away as well. He has started, according to my stepmom, he has started leaving the house, going walking for miles, and dementia patients will do that, or people with dementia will do that. So people with dementia, I feel like it's a sense of, I was telling my nephew, mom, Kelly, I was telling her that I think it's a sense of they get into a moment where they don't, even recognize their home, or kind of just recognize where they are, and they just start walking, But I mean, I don't know much about dementia. I don't kind of study that in my field. So, but for his birthday, because his birthday was yesterday, I'm waiting for an order. So I got a puzzle. I got 2 puzzles. One puzzle is, once he puts it together, is a picture of his mom and sister who passed away, and then the other puzzle is a picture of his dad that also passed away. So I got that's coming, and I got him a little memory book that has like little puzzles and stuff, just to kind of strengthen your memory. So I got that for him for his birthday. With my stepmom, her birthday is coming up. Like, my stepmom's birthday is 6 days after my dad, so her birthday is coming up, and I'm gonna probably just get her a card with a gift card like I've been doing, and flowers, because she is doing so much. She's going to go see her mom twice a day to give her insulin. Then she's taking care of my dad, and now she's got to take my dad everywhere. you know, and then she's got other family members she's trying to deal with, and she still picks up Maverick, my daughter, every other Thursday from daycare to spend time with her. So she's doing a lot. So I'm gonna get that for her. But so that's where my dad is. He's kind of, you know, he's kind of in that stage right now of dementia. But let me put that up. But let's see what else. Okay, so what happened in August? August was a heavy month. So on August the 4th, I went to pick up my daughter from daycare, and I was told that she was left outside on the playground by herself for 7 minutes. And on top of that, the teacher didn't even notice. A parent found her and called DCF. So I had to, y'all, I mean, the issues that I had with my daughter's first daycare, I have tried my best. You know, I'm a first-time parent, so I have tried my best to kind of focus on, you know, texting the owner and saying like, hey, is any, like, you know, is there any type of training that's got to be revisited? You know, kind of, hey, you know, this can't happen again. You know, how do we move forward? You know, I have tried my best to be as civil as I can, but that was just the last straw for me. It was just the last straw. The issues that I have had with her first daycare was, one, she got bit twice by the same kid, and that's when I had brought it to the owner's attention, like, hey, what's the protocol for if this keeps happening? And they moved the other child out of the room. And then the second time an issue was happening was she fell and hit her head, and there was 4 teachers in the room. She fell and hit her head, and then that evening, after I picked her up, they told me, but that evening she started to have a bloody nose. Never had a bloody nose in her life. So we took her to the hospital. They observed her for 2 hours because they didn't want to put her under radiation to see about if anything was going on. And then the third time, Maverick was coming home with poop on her pants, and I'm just like, well, and you know, I gave and this was a new employee, so I gave her some grace. But the third time it happened, I texted the owner, and I was just like, hey, you know, I was trying to give her some grace, but this is the third time, and this is the last straw. This will not happen again, and it can't happen again. Or, you know, I was going to call DCF because I don't know. One, the girl was saying it was Maverick's, but I don't know. She was just new. She was new and she was young, but that's no excuse because Maverick had 3 extra outfits in her cubby. So I told the owner, I was like, hey, I don't know if she's got like kind of an issue with feces or what's going on. You know, maybe this is just not her position in the daycare. You know, once again, but this is, you know, just letting you know it can't happen again. And that employee, I don't know if she left or got terminated, I don't know, but 2 weeks later she wasn't there. And then what was the final straw, really, that kind of made the playground the final straw was that Maverick had came home, and it was the day that I had let her wear her hair out, which I rarely do. But this day, Maverick had came home, and I hugged her, and I felt her head. And she had so much sand in her hair. So much sand in her hair. And so I'm up here going crazy. You know, I'm thinking that I'm crazy because I'm just like, okay, well, where has she been to where there's sand in her hair? You know, I'm texting my mom, I'm texting, you know, her auntie, but I'm just like, well, she hasn't been around anybody. So I thought I was going crazy. I was just like, okay, something's not right here. But I washed her hair and I braided it, right? The next day, I took her to school, and her teacher saw her. She had on a new outfit, and she had her hair braided. And then she runs up to me, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, so you saw the sand?" And I was like, "Excuse me?" And she was like, "The sand in her hair." I was like, oh yeah. I was like, yes, there was a lot of sand in her hair. I was just like, so you know about that? Can you tell me about that? And she was like, yeah, we were coming in from outside and she saw a flower pot and she dumped it on her head. And I was just like, well, I thought this. I didn't tell her that. I was thinking in 2.5 seconds, I was thinking like, well, Maverick actually gardens. Y'all have seen her in my previous vlogs. Maverick doesn't do things like that. But, I was just like, well, hey, I was just like, is there a reason why you didn't tell me? And she was like, I was just so scared and I just didn't know. And I was like, okay, well, you got to tell me next time. I was like, okay, well, hey, can we kind of collaborate? And can you like tell me next time? Because if I hadn't have hugged her, that sand could have really did damage to her head. And she was like, yes, I'll definitely tell you next time. And I was just like, okay. But that teacher wouldn't have told me about that sand, y'all, if Maverick hadn't came back to school with her hair braided. And that's when they lost my trust. And so 3 weeks later after that, the playground incident happened, and I was just like, okay, gotta go. I cannot risk it. And then there was another time the day before the DCF incident where the owner actually said that Maverick had climbed on a chair and reached up and picked up a granola bar. And so he called me. I was just like, hey, I'm calling you because I know she's allergic to milk. And I was just like, okay. But once again, I'm thinking Maverick doesn't do stuff like that. And then lo and behold, the very next day that I dropped her off, the teacher says, is she okay? And I was like, yeah, she's fine. I was like, why wouldn't she be? And she was like, well, I gave her a granola bar yesterday. And then I quickly took it from her because I remembered she was allergic to milk. And I'm just like, well, so now the owner told me that Maverick saw it on the counter. I mean, I didn't tell her this, but I'm thinking, okay, the owner told me that Maverick saw it on the counter and took it. And so y'all, when I tell you, that was the day that happened before the DCF incident, but that was the day that I said, okay, I definitely got to go because now you're lying on my daughter. And that's not going to happen. So watch these teachers, you guys, because and that's why I've always said that I didn't want Maverick to start school until she has language, because teachers will lie heavy, just very heavily, because they don't want to get in trouble. So I was just, and so once August 4th happened, which was with the whole incident with DCF, you guys, when I tell y'all, I'm not going to tell y'all the name of the daycare, but they have so many, almost 20 parents had already left, okay? And there was even a review that talked about my incident, which I'm thinking it must be that parent that found her. But every daycare that I was calling, every daycare said, oh my God, we've had so many kids come from that daycare recently. I'm just like, yeah, because now, there's about 4 DCF cases open, and y'all know that's public, information. So they got hit when I was taking her out. They got hit with like 2 weeks of just really bad reviews. So now they're like at a 1.9. I didn't leave a review. But the owner actually texted me and was just like, can we really get some feedback? Did we not meet your expectations? And I felt like that was really insulting, because do you guys really think that you guys were meeting my standards? It's crazy. So I actually sent him a 10-minute voice text. I did, give him my feedback, and I told him, I was like, the bottom line is that the girls that you guys are employing are too young. They're 19, fresh out of high school. It's a paycheck to them. And I was just like, if you don't be mindful, if you don't start being mindful, one of these young girls that have their whole lives ahead of them, they're going to catch a felony for child neglect or child endangerment, whatever the case may be. So I told him, I was like, I encourage you to get older people in there. That basically knows what they're doing, so, but, August was a tiring month, you guys, because I toured like 4 or 5 daycares. I was so tired. I was leaving work early. I was leaving work late just to try to fit these tours in. And finally, my mom told me about a place And I went there, and this place is phenomenal, you guys. I love it. I mean, the director's been there for 22 years. The assistant director, I think 18. Most of the staff members have been there over 10 plus years, and they adore Maverick. Every single morning, before I even open the door, the director is coming in and scooping Maverick up for me. So I mean, oh my gosh, her new daycare, how did I miss them? And they're like 6 minutes from my job. So Maverick's previous daycare was 40 minutes from my job. So this daycare is 6 minutes from my job, so I can quickly go and drop her off and be at my job, and then when I get off, I can just go scoop her up and be home, and so it has been great. So she started September the 2nd, and like I said, it has just been awesome. Maverick is doing very, very well. By the way, she knows her shapes, numbers up to 10. She knows her colors. We're focusing on ABCs. She's talking more. Gosh. And I know every parent say this, but oh my gosh, she is just perfect. She is just absolutely perfect. But yeah, so that's why. But so I don't want to make this too long, but that's why I have not been kind of posting, just because I have been dealing with a lot. And on top of that, I was waiting to see if I had to complete a class before I take my test to be a licensed therapist. And finally, they came back and said I didn't have to take that one class. So I'm really happy about that. So now all I have to do is worry about taking the test, and then I can be licensed, and then I can hopefully make more. And I'm trying to, since my daughter's daycare is downtown, and then I'm 6 minutes from downtown, I want to try to find a place downtown. That is my goal for the new year. That is my overall goal for the new year, is to get it to where, or at least maybe that I'm like close to downtown. But also in July and August, my car was breaking down. I had to get that fixed, and of course I had to go to work, right? I had to continue to go to work and do well. So it was a lot. So I had no energy to vlog. I had no energy to do anything. It was every single week. Get up Monday through Friday, get up, take Maverick to daycare, go to work, pick her up from daycare. Then on Fridays, I was, or the weekends, I was washing all of our clothes for the week. And then, of course, I've been braiding her hair every week. But I think this week I'm going to give her hair a break, and she's just going to wear it out. But I've been braiding her hair every single week. And her hair, oh my gosh, her hair has grown so much. It is beautiful. She has a beautiful head of hair. But yeah, I've just been taking care of her. Oh my goodness, and another thing. Okay, so she had her dentist appointment recently, September the 8th. And her last dentist appointment, her dentist brought up that, like, hey, it seems as though her lymph nodes are swollen. And so she was like, get an allergy test done, see about tonsils, blah, blah, blah. So I did that. And then this last dentist appointment, she brought it up again. And she was kind of not frustrated about it, but I was telling her, like, hey, we found out about the allergies. And according to the lateral neck x-ray she did, her tonsils are fine. And so she was just like, well, that is just unacceptable. Please go back to your pediatrician, because something's just, I can feel something is just very swollen here. And so I went back to her pediatrician that same day. I called her, and her pediatrician said that there was actually a spot in the lateral neck x-ray paperwork that she overlooked, that said that something was moderately abnormal. So she said now Maverick will be set up to do another lateral neck x-ray, and she's going to do a sleep study, because she snores in her sleep, and she's going to see about if she needs her tonsils and adenoids removed. So, but yeah. that is what has been going on. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop this. It's at 30 minutes, but I'm going to definitely focus on vlogging now that everything has kind of settled. I can kind of like I literally just met up with my sis son last weekend here at Starbucks. I'm gonna insert a picture. Now I gotta meet up with her godmom because her godmom hasn't seen her. But now I'm kind of slowly but surely getting back into kind of like, okay, now that I've kind of checked out, just because I was getting a lot of things in order, now I can, you know, just start back serving myself well. And that is just kind of focusing on making sure that I still, even in the midst of dealing with life's turns, I still know how to enjoy it, you know. So but yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Sorry it was so long, but I had a lot to talk about. But I will see y'all in my next video. Bye. So I ended up taking Maverick to the beach for the first time. Her dad and I, so we were both out there. And so she had a blast. It was awesome. This is actually how I braided her hair for her first day of, for her first day at her new daycare. And her auntie Crystal brought her some clothes. They're all 4T, so I don't know, she'll grow into most of them. My mom bought her these, also 3 to 4T, but you know, eventually she'll be able to wear them. But yes, so this is her at her first day of daycare. She's so cute. She's eating oatmeal.